the new normal in action, varsity students from various walks of life have begun to acclimatize themselves to the new normal of learning. It is important for us to understand that things have changed, whether for the better or for the worse, but that is very much immaterial. Fact is, things are no longer the same again. Since when the president announced the first lockdown in March, things were never going to be the same again. And today, I am happy to introduce the two ladies I'm with here in studio, Okuhle Nochulwana, a dietetics student from NMU, and Faith Boysen, who's doing law at the same institution. Now, both these students we have today on studio never signed up for distance learning, but today they find themselves doing distance learning, and it is as a result of this new normal. And before we begin, let us bow our heads with prayer. Precious and loving God, we come before the throne of grace, before the feet of the cross. We want to say thank you for love, thank you for mercies. As we're about to start this session, we solicit the presence and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. We ask and pray all of this in your name. Amen.
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 By the way, I forgot to greet everyone at home. Greetings and welcome to our Wednesday snack with NMU students today. Probably let me give over to Okuhle to say hi, and then I'll hand over to Faith also just to say hi at home. Okuhle?
Thank you, Mfundisi. Hello to Mfundisi as well as Faith, and also to everyone at home. I hope you're all well.
Faith?
Hello, everyone. I hope you're well and you're doing good under this lockdown.
Now, tell me, ladies, and I will not say Faith or Okuhle, I'll just ask the question and then you'll deal with it as it comes. Now, what has been your experience studying at home under lockdown? Okuhle?
The experience.
Faith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Pastor.
Yes, please. You may go on.
Okay, the experience was quite different from what we usually encounter with learning. We had to get the work online. We didn't have any interaction or face-to-face with any of the lecturers, not with the other students. It was basically just you and your books. And yes, it was quite difficult actually to adjust to the new way of learning. It took quite some time to adjust to it, but yes, we made it through, and yes, we are happy that we made it through.
Okay, Kuhle?
I lost my connection there for a moment. Could you please repeat the question, please?
Okay, so what has been your experience studying at home during this lockdown?
Okay, from what I gathered from Faith at the end, I think we have similar experiences. At the beginning, it was a big adjustment because you're not used to working, like studying in this environment. So it did take some time to get used to. I know during the first 21 days of the lockdown, because there wasn't schoolwork allocated, it was very slow. But once the lecturers started giving us slides and what to do, I think we began to adjust, and it's become the new normal now.
And then, ladies, what has been your biggest challenge over this time?
The biggest challenge for me was the fact that there are no real interaction with the lecturers. So there's no real teaching going on. It's more they give you voice notes on Moodle, they give you the slides, but it's not what we were used to. And so also that thing that you have to work on, basically. That has been the greatest challenge for me. And also you're at home, you know, it's not a study environment. You're more at home, and now you have to bring your studies into home. And yes.
Kuhle?
Yeah, I think I shared the experiences as well. But I think my biggest challenge was definitely like adjusting, the actual process of adjusting to this, um, as well as finding a balance between everything that's going on. Because a lot of the times all the works comes through at once. So you have to make time for each and every segment of or each and every module, as well as the things that you have to do at home. So you have other chores at home that you need to do, and then there's also schoolwork. So being able to balance that and just making time for everything and achieving it in time, that was, I think, my biggest struggle.
Okay. Now, with all that you ladies have said, what have been what have been your lessons that you've grasped on the way? Like, what are the things that you believe even after this lockdown you will continue to and what call you will take to heart as something that you learned from this lockdown?
I think for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is that things change, you know. You can't always expect things to be the same. And when things change, you need to adapt to that situation as well. So learning to adapt, I think that has been something that I've learned. I think I've been a person who was very afraid of change, but this has taught me that when things happen, you have to adapt to whatever happens, and also making time for what's important, you know, whilst doing everything that you need to do while still making time for what's important as well, you know, and just that you need to be grateful for what you have and for the life that you have, and just, yeah, I think that has been something that I've learned also, that you need to be able to teach yourself things when other people aren't around to teach you, and it's okay to ask for help when you do need help. Yeah.
See?
I think for me, I was very anxious when the lockdown started. Are we gonna finish the year? Will I have to do my third year next year over again? And then I just the lesson that came through for me is that everything works out in the end. When things change, you have to find a way to make it work. You might have to find a new path. You might have to adjust, but there will always be a way to make things happen. And also self-discipline. Because the thing is now, the lecturers give you the work, and then you have to make time and go through it, and to not, because that's what actually happened to me. I didn't, the first module, I didn't go through the work. The lecturers gave the work, I didn't. Only when the test came, then I realized, okay, I actually had to go through the work. So it's self-discipline. You have to discipline yourself even when other people are not around, because it's not like we had classes and you had the chance to go to a class. You actually had to make time for your books every day. You had to discipline yourself. So that is the biggest lesson that I took out of all of this.
Okay. Now, and I think both of you actually touch on the next question that I'm about to ask. What has been your biggest adjustment out of everything that you have been doing?
I think for me, it's not having someone there in front of you, you know, to teach you, but rather you have slides with voiceovers, so you can't even directly ask a question as it pops up. So that, like, interactiveness of the classroom isn't there anymore. If you want to ask a question, you have to write a long email and you have to wait until they get back to you. So I think that has been the biggest adjustment. And also, I think something that I've also learned is that it's good to do your own research as well. If you don't understand something, look for other materials that'll help you understand better. So yeah, that has been my biggest adjustment, not having that interactiveness that's direct.
Okay, I think that's fair. Faith?
I'm just gonna agree with what Okuhle said, the non-interactiveness, and also the fact that you're not in a study environment. You're at home, there are noises around, people, chores, friends, everything. And it's not like you can go to the library because the libraries are closed. Everything is closed. You have to stay at home. So it has been a big adjustment to separate your normal everyday home life from the study life. And because for me, I think when I'm in PE, I know I'm a student there, I need to study. When I come home on weekends or whenever, I relax, I'm I forget the studies and the things. I just come to relax and, spend time with the family, spend time with friends. I'm not in that study mode. So it has been a big adjustment to mix the two together, the student and the home life, to mix it together.
And again, you are leading me to the next question because at home you are Faith, at home you are Ogushle, you are the daughter. In PE, you are the student. And already your mind tells you that now I'm in an academic environment. And as such, I have to study. Now, with all of those changes and adjustments, how do you balance home? How do you balance life, and at the same time you balance your chores at home? Like how does it work? You've got schoolwork this side, you've got chores this side. Where do you draw the balance? Where do you strike it?
I think it's also important to have conversation with everyone at home because that's what luckily my mom is very understanding. So we spoke, or she knows that I have to study and I have tests, and sometimes my tests are during the day. So for me, it was I knew I had to do my chores, so I can't run away from that. I can't say because I'm studying I'm not doing chores anymore. But they understood that at certain times I had to do certain things. So it's important to communicate your schedule as well. And then for me, I usually like to study at night when everyone else is asleep because that's when there's quiet time. Otherwise, if I'm gonna study during the day, I'm not as productive because the people are doing other stuff and it's just a mess. So I usually study during the night and then I'll also wake up later during the day so they understand that. And then I'll do my chores if I need to go to the shops or anything, I'll do that during the day. And I think it's important to allocate time for everything that you need to do. And just say that, okay, I wake up at this time, setting a plan for yourself and actually executing it. Because I know setting a plan is easy, but the actual execution part becomes a bit tough. So it's communicating, it's setting a plan, it's executing it, and it's just doing everything to the best that you can.
Okay. Okay.
For me, it's also I had to communicate with my parents and my sister and everyone at home. They needed to know my schedule. So I woke up in the morning, I did what I had to do, my chores and everything. And then I started at a certain time during the day, say at 12. And then I started because I can't really study at night. At 10, I want to go to sleep or just relax. So I had to study during the day. So then I went into my room and then everyone know, okay, Faith is studying now. We mustn't bother her. And then I study and then everything else that needs to be done, my sister did it. And then when I'm done studying, say at 5 or so, and then maybe I do the dishes in the night or so. So we separated the chores between us. So she knew that when I'm in my room, now I'm studying. So she had to take over. And then I did mine when I'm free. I did my chores. So yes, communication to you, to your household about what's going on, and working out a schedule is very important. That's what helped me.
Okay, and then ladies, what advice would you give a student going undergoing the same changes that you guys have gone through over the past 3 to 4 months?
Whew, I think eh, for me, I'd say take your time, to just process things and get things done. I think I also suffered from the same thing as Faith, where I waited up until like maybe the test for the first time, waited up until the test. But being able to plan your time properly helps in the long run as well. Because if you make time for things now, then later it becomes easier. You also get more time to process things so that you may be able to understand them properly as well, and be able to know what you're talking about or what you're studying. So I'd say plan, plan, plan. Just plan your time and use every second wisely. You're at home, yes, but you're still at school. You still have to submit, you still have to write tests. So use your time wisely, and also take some downtime at times. Just take time to sit with the family and laugh, or do things that you love as well, just to maintain that sanity and create an environment that is conducive for you to study.
Okay, Faith?
I think for me, I would say that they should relax. They should take time to breathe, because I know with online studying, with the Pathway 1, our tests and exams, it came like we didn't have a lot of break time between it, and it was a lot. So I would say that they shouldn't be anxious. They should know that I'm gonna make it through. They should keep that peace within them and take one day at a time. That's really the best advice that I can give you. Take one day at a time. Do not look at, okay, I must do this and do that. Plan your time and then work according to your schedule, and take one day at a time. Because if you look at the whole thing, you're gonna feel overwhelmed. You're gonna feel anxious. You're gonna feel like, I can't do this. Your mind is gonna shut down and you won't be productive. So yes, take one day at a time, be calm and do what you can do, and work according to your schedule. Because if you have a schedule set out, you know how much time you must allocate to each, and then that will help you to be calm and be productive.
Okay. Now, with all that has been said, tell me, ladies, is studying away from campus any different from studying at a university? And if so, how is it different?
I think it's very different. It's totally different. You don't have access to the library instantly. You can't just go there for another book. So you have to use online. I think for me, it's a lot different. There's so much to adapt to. Um, you have to push yourself. I think when you're in a study environment surrounded by people who are studying, that also motivates you to study. But when you're at home and other people are chilling, they're having the time of their lives, and you're the only one who's busy stressing about submissions and stuff, that can also be a bit demotivating. So the environment, the entire environment is very different. Like Faith had already said, when I'm at home, I'm on holiday. Like home is my holiday spot. So just adjusting from that mindset of, no, you're not on holiday. You've got submissions, you've got assignments, tests that you need to do. And then at school in PE, know, yeah, we're here to chase studying. We're here to do this, that, and the other. So just that, I think a lot of it is in the mind, but also the environment itself itself is also quite different.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay.
I think for me, I actually have a lot more respect for UNISA students after after what we went through, because it is a lot different. It's actually you have to teach yourself. That's the thing for me, because when the lecturer is there, they explain the parts that you don't understand. And for me, I have a very good memory. So when I'm in class, I listen and I can remember what I heard. So when I go home, I do my study, I remember what the lecturer said, and then I read. And so it's easier for me to study and understand and then go write the test and exam. But now I'm not, there's no interaction. Some lecturers do voice notes and WhatsApp voice notes, but some just give you the slides and then you have to go through it by yourself. There's no real explanation. So with that, it has been a bit more difficult. So yes, it is quite different. And also what Okudle said, there's no students around you that you can motivate yourself with, because everyone is at home, they do what they do. Life is just normal, and then you have to now go and study.
Okay, just a quick one before we close. How do you ladies maintain a healthy, positive mindset with all these many changes that have happened in this past few months? Faith?
Yeah, so I think
Okay, I think
yeah,
okay, you go.
okay. I think it's very important to the mindset is very important. I think it's important to keep healthy, you know, eat well, make sure that you're getting in the essential nutrients, your vitamins, your macronutrients. That also has an impact on how you adjust to everything. So making sure that you're eating well. I always stress this. And then also having a good support system helps a lot. When you have people that are supporting you, that helps. And also for me, I think maintaining a good spiritual life as well, making sure that you're praying, you're reading the Bible, and also keeping in mind the end goal, you know, knowing that this is what you're working towards. I think goals help me, goals together with that, deadlines help me to stay focused. So knowing that this is what I'm working towards and this is what I want to achieve at the end of the day, that helps me to know and to realize that this was what needs to be done. And so that helps being positive as well, because you know that, okay, at the end of the day, if I do this, then I'll be able to pass and move on to the next year and eventually graduate. So that as well. And also not completely isolating yourself. As much as you're studying and you're alone, maintaining communication with other people, whether it be your students, fellow students, as well as family, speaking to other students. I don't know why, but I find joy in, like, when I'm speaking to my classmates or to my friends that are also students, and we just share our struggles and we laugh about it, and then you're like, okay, you know what, as much as I feel alone, there are other people that are going through the same thing, so it's okay, we're all doing this. And so it just keeps you motivated and keeps you going and feeling positive about the whole thing. And also just to take it as a learning process, or learning something that you can learn from, knowing that this is tough and it's different, but you know what, we will make it out stronger. I think those have been what has kept me positive and kept me going.
Okay. I've got a follow-up for you, Oguhle, but let's give Faith.
Okay, for me, it was actually reminding myself that God is with me and that I'm not alone. And He knows what I'm going through. He knows that this is a big adjustment, but He promised to never leave my side. I can pray, I can trust Him, and I know that everything will work out just like he planned. And also the thing that really kept me going was the end goal, because that motivated me. Like, I had the goal, I want to achieve my degree and become a lawyer. So to get there, I must pass, and I must study, and I must learn while I'm doing the course. So that is what really motivated me and gave me the determination and the perseverance, keeping the end goal in mind. And also, yes, like Akuhle said, the support from your fellow students, because I know we on WhatsApp, we had a group, 6 of my friends, and then when we were struggling, we shared with each other, and then there were others who motivated us and so forth. And so it just gives you that feeling of, I'm not alone, and I don't need to be so hard on myself, because I think if you're alone and you feel like you can be hard on yourself sometimes, because you feel like you're not doing enough, and things are not working out, you're not getting the marks that you're used to getting. And so when you share and you find some comfort and some peace in the fact that, no, I'm not alone, this is normal, I just have to keep on pushing, doing the best that I can. So yes, keep that mindset that I have a goal in mind and I'm doing the best that I can, and don't be so hard on myself, because I think that I got some marks that I'm not used to. And then I told my family, I told my family, and my dad said, okay, it's fine. This is a big adjustment for you. Don't be so hard on yourself. They know that I have been studying, and I've told them my timetable, and it was quite rough. And my dad said, okay, it's fine. We don't be so hard on yourself. It was a big adjustment, and we know you were tired and everything. And so that also relieved that anxiety and that stress of getting not good marks and everything, that clears your mind a bit, and motivates you to, this is not the end. You can do better next time.
Now, the two of you touched on something I had not thought I was going to ask, but let me ask it anyway. Your spiritual life, how has it been affected?
I think it's different now because churches are closed as well. So it's the same. I feel like it's okay, not online churching, but it is kind of online church as well, because what church is now online, we're getting our services on Facebook or on YouTube, and also on television as well on Sabbath. So I think it's also important to note that you can't just rely on other people to feed you spiritually. You have to take your Bible and read your Bible every day. You have to make sure that you pray. Whenever, as Faith was saying, whenever you feel anxious, you know that there's a God in heaven who said that we must come to him whenever we are heavy laden or burdened. So it's important that you realize that this burden is heavy and I can't carry it on my own. You take it to Christ, and Christ will help you with that. I think it also helps you find motivation. Whenever I feel weak, I know that I can find strength from. So being able to just also maintain your own spiritual life by yourself, like just relying on other people to feed you or to say, okay, now we're praying at a certain time, but also making time for God every day continually, and just also treating your spiritual life or your Bible as also another module that you have. So making time for it, and just whenever you're feeling down, make sure that you also go to God, because God is the one who can lift us up.
Okay. Hey?
Okay, for me, it definitely strengthened my relationship with God, because the first 21 days of lockdown, everything was literally on lockdown. There was no church, there was no nothing. So it's like Okuhle said, there was no preacher preaching the word to you. There was no reading the Bible in church with everyone else. You had to do it by yourself. And so that is the thing. God actually created that time for us to draw closer to him, because now there's no excuse. Oh, I don't have time, I have to do this, I have to do that. You can't do anything, because I was at home. There was no classes. At that time, the university didn't send us any work through or anything. So we didn't have any academics. We didn't have nothing. So that was really a time to draw close to God, check where your relationship is with him. And yes, just do some introspection on your spiritual life. And you literally had time for God and him to talk to you, spend time with him, and so on. And it just give you the realization that you can't depend on the pastor, you can't depend on the congregation service once or twice a week to keep your spiritual life going. It's between you and God. You have to work on the relationship between you and God. It's yeah, there was no church to hide behind. Oh, I'm going to church so my spiritual life is okay, but at home I know I'm not reading my Bible, I'm not praying. So now there was that perfect time for you to, if you stop praying, if I stop praying maybe, then now I have time to pray, and now I must pray because there's nothing to hide behind anymore.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's fair. In 30 seconds, Okuhle, how have you been maintaining healthy relationships that have been formed at NMU?
Oh, okay. I have been lacking at this one, but I think it's important to check up on your friends. It's important to every now and then ask how you are, because people are really going through a lot. So we have our phones, call people, WhatsApp people, reply to people's statuses, and just maintain that relationship. And also share notes, share devotions, memes, whatever the case is. I think that was more than 30 seconds.
Okay. In 30 seconds, you go.
For me, it was yes, communicating, texting, WhatsApp. How are you? How you've been doing? Because it gets quite busy, and so then you sometimes you just don't check up, and you've lost contact, and you don't really know what's happening in each other's lives, how is their well-being, and so on and so forth. So I think that not like every day check up, but that once in a while, just how have you been doing, how are you holding up, what's happening, and so forth and so on. And a call maybe every now and then, a video call, WhatsApp voice call, or yes,
Okay.
that can also work.
Thank you, ladies, for your time. I really hope and pray that God will bless you. Are you done with your exams, or you're about to start?
We are done. I'm done.
Kuhle?
I still have one more test. I didn't have any exams, but I still have one more test this week, and then I'll be done.
Okay. All the best, ladies. May the Lord continue blessing you in your academics and even in your family relationships and friendly relationships and whatsoever relationships that are there. Who wants to pray for us?
I can pray.
Thank you. Short one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our kind and gracious Father in heaven, we thank you for the time that you've given us. We pray that our experiences here may reflect how good you've been in our lives, and may we continue to hold the faith, strengthen us in everything that we do. May we wholly rely upon you, even when other things change. May we remember that you, God, are constant. Bless everyone who's watching and listening, and bless Mfundisi and the district and Faith as well. We thank you, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I hope you learned something, as we always say. Blessings to you, ladies, and blessings at home. Thank you.
Thank you.